This is an SKN Newsline feature presentation.
I'm Andre Huey and welcome to St. Kitts Nevis Votes 2020. We're looking at constituency number 8 in today's edition, Dr. Terrance Drew versus Eugene Hamilton. But before we get into the meat of the matter, here is election news. A letter from the attorneys representing the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party to the Attorney General regarding the state of emergency and ZIZ Broadcasting legal matters is suggesting that court orders were issued on Friday to suspend 3 days of the current state of emergency. According to a letter from the law offices of Sylvester Anthony to the Attorney General, both legal teams agreed to partial night curfews on June 4th, 5th and 6th to facilitate fair elections. However, the lawyers for the Labour Party are claiming that a Facebook post from the Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, misrepresents the order of the court by His Lordship Trevor Ward QC, and that is now asking for a consent order to be done in writing on the terms both parties agreed upon. The lawyers alleged that the pronouncement on the Prime Minister's Facebook page must have come from information relayed to him by the government's legal representatives, and that it is unfortunate the consent order was misrepresented by a misleading Facebook post from the first defendant. They called on the Attorney General to have the information corrected. The post the lawyers referred to suggested that the Labour Party lost their legal challenge against the state of emergency and the COVID-19 regulations. In the letter from the lawyers, they contend that night curfews before and on polling day would adversely affect the process and result in voter suppression and possible disenfranchisement of thousands of voters. The Labour Party had applied to the courts to have the current state of emergency removed, arguing that it is unconstitutional and was designed to suppress Labour Party supporters and candidates. They also sought to have equal airtime on the state-owned ZBC Broadcasting. The government has argued that the state of emergency was designed to respond to the COVID-19 health crisis and social distancing guidelines, despite the recovery of the 15 positive coronavirus cases in the Federation. The board of ZBC Broadcasting, on the same day of the court application, announced new measures making ZIZ TV and radio available to all political parties for broadcast of political ads and public meetings. Election day is June 5th. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. There is a 14% increase in registered voters for the June 5th, 2020 elections, disclosed Supervisor of Elections, Mr. Elvin Bailey. The voters list for the election is drawn up of persons whose names are on the annual registered published on the end of January 2020, including those who were in the monthly revised list thereafter up to the March list. Mr. Bailey, in a national address on Friday, said there were 48,036 persons registered to vote, 35,860 in St. Kitts, and 12,176 in Nevis. He gave a breakdown of the voters in the various constituencies.
In summary, on voting day, June the 5th, Friday, June 5th, voting will take place thus. For the 5,962 voters in constituency 1, they will vote at 15 voting sites. For the 5,421 voters in constituency 2, they will vote at 14 voting sites. The 4,078 voters in constituency 3 will vote at 10 voting sites. The 3,400 voters in constituency 4 will vote at 10 voting sites. In constituency 5, there are 3,124 voters assigned to 10 voting sites. In constituency 6, there are 3,205 voters assigned to 9 voting sites. Constituency 7 has 3,722 voters assigned to 9 voting sites. Constituency 8 has 6,948 voters assigned to 18 voting sites. In constituency 9, there are 6,000 397 voters assigned to 18 voting sites. Constituency 10 has 1,774 voters who will vote in 6 voting sites. And for Constituency 11, there are 4,005 voters assigned to 10 voting sites. The actual sites and the number of voters assigned to each polling or voting site will be published in the Gazette and in the newspapers.
The supervisor also reminded persons on the COVID-19 guidelines to be observed on Election Day.
Such protocols discussed and accepted by the COVID-19 task force include sanitization, distancing measures, and the wearing of masks. Voters will be required to briefly unmask so that their identity can be checked. Also, a cleansing solution will be provided for voters prior to the immersion in the indelible ink. We are urging voters to comply so that the voting process can flow smoothly and expeditiously. While voting, if you feel that your ballot is not properly marked or is spoiled, please return it to the presiding officer and request another. The legislation allows for this. Voters who require assistance can request such assistance. That voter can have another voter of the same polling station make the mark for them behind the booth, or can request that the presiding officer, in the full view of the party agents and poll clerk, make the mark on behalf of the voter. An oath of incapacity must be taken by the incapacitated voter, and a voter may only assist one such voter and none other. Voters will be asked not to take their cell phones or cameras into the voting area. In fact, a container will be provided in which the voter will be asked to deposit their phones. Please bring picture identification with you, particularly your national identification card. However, if you do not have your valid card for whatever reason, you can still vote upon presenting of either a valid local passport, a valid local social security card, or a valid local driver's license.
Polling stations open at 7 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. on Election Day. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
The Coalition of Non-Governmental Organizations has issued a statement of concern over the government's decision to bar the participation of regional and international observers in the 5th June general elections. The NGOs involved in the statement issued Friday 29 May are the St. Kitts Christian Council, the St. Kitts and Nevis Bar Association, the St. Kitts Evangelical Association, and the St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce. The statement pointed out that these organizations do not have the resources, the knowledge, nor the training to carry out the function of election observers in the upcoming 5th June general elections. However, they have indicated in their statement that they are willing to do the duties to the best of their abilities. According to the statement, the coalition of NGOs is prepared to sensitize parties, voters, and the media of the ethical guidelines and the code of conduct that were agreed to since 2009. The coalition has expressed their desire to have the government put special COVID-19 protocols in place to facilitate the involvement of CARICOM and international observers. The coalition pointed to Suriname that did so in their recent general elections. It is understood that the government revoked the invitation of the OAS observer team, citing, among other things, the continued border closure in the Federation due to the COVID-19 pandemic. On 29 May, a court hearing began on a constitutional challenge brought by the opposition St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. The party contends that the government is using the state of emergency as a cover to engage in unfair practices to give the coalition team unity government an unfair advantage. They say the state of emergency is infringing on the rights of individuals and said there is no scientific reason to continue the COVID-19 state of emergency. Glenn Bart, SKN Newsline.
The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party launched its next-gen SKN Manifesto 2020 on the weekend, along with the Manifesto app. Dr. Denzil Douglas, political leader of the Labour Party, said the party wisely used its time out of government for active listening, sober reflection, and conscious learning in order to ensure that its platform is reflective of the dreams, hopes, and aspirations of the people, as well as the expectations of their leaders. Dr. Douglas said the Labour Party has the plans and policies that will tackle and overcome the challenges that the nation will face in adjusting to the imperatives of the post-COVID-19 environment. Highlights of the manifesto include creating jobs by expanding the enclave manufacturing sector, diversifying the tourism product, and attracting direct investment with a focus on diaspora engagement, economic diversification, and building over 2,000 low-income homes. Abolition of tuition fees for the Clarence Fitzroy Brand College, constructing a new JNF General Hospital, duty-free concessions and tax relief for small businesses as part of the Start from Zero package, reduction of VAT from 17% to 13%, plus 3 VAT reduction days annually, duty-free vehicles for all citizens over the age of 18 once in their lifetime, and housing allowance for essential service providers.
Leadership matters. Oh yes, it does. And we make the point that because we have adopted the capacity over the years, some of our experience in the management of a number of national crises, we believe, therefore, that we are best placed to assist in the recovery and in rebuilding. In fact, the hurricanes that we've had, the transitioning of the national economy from sugar agriculture to a services economy led by tourism and hospitality, the 2008 global crisis, global and financial crises that we have experienced, where we were able to practically rebuild the economy and put it on a very straight footing. And now we have the challenge of the COVID, post-COVID-19 situation, which we believe from our experience we will be able definitely to manage.
Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
In these stressful times, you need relief, a way to release your stress and care for your health. You need Serenity. Yes, Serenity Mobile Spa, where we come to your home and offer the very best in massage and spa treatment. Your health is our priority as we practice the highest hygiene procedures before, during, and after your treatment. Choose from massages to meet your physical needs, scrubs, facials, waxing, and much more. We also provide our customers a complimentary serving of refreshing local coconut water with each massage. During these restricted times, we urge our customers to stay healthy. We will come to you.
Call us at 762-0157 or 760-8899. Find us on Facebook, Serenity Mobile Spa Thinkit, or email us at serenitymobile-spa869@gmail.com.
Serenity Mobile Spa.
Looking for a clean haircut to make you look your best? Then come to Creative Barber Salon on Church Street, Bastyr. At Creative Barber Salon, you can choose from a wide variety of services: straight haircut, cut and shave, square and shave, children haircut, ladies cut, square, and much more. Customer service guaranteed. Opening hours Monday to Thursday 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Friday to Saturday 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 765-0460. Visit Creative Barber Salon today on Church Street, Bastyr, specializing in all styles of haircuts.
Get the finest in Pandora jewelry at Noble Jewelers,
Fort Zante.
Like our Facebook page and get special offers.
Noble Jewelers, your Pandora store, Fort Zante.
Welcome back to St. Kitts Nevis Votes 2020. We're looking at constituency number 8, and we're going to start off with a profile of the incumbent, Eugene Hamilton of the People's Action Movement.
Constituency number 8 will be a showdown this election. Rated the largest constituency in the Federation based on the number of registered voters, number 8 will be a toss-up this election. Two-time MP Eugene Hamilton of the People's Action Movement, once in opposition from 2010 to 2015 and the last 5 years in government, Mr. Hamilton will be in a tough fight for this seat up against the Labour Party's rising star, Dr. Terrance Drew. But the incumbent is not fazed by the challenge.
And I'm not one who go around and boast. I don't boast, I just take action. And so because I don't boast and shut them down, they get away with these kinds of things. And maybe that is a fault of mine, because the truth is others do boast about what they accomplish.
An ardent follower of the People's Action Movement prior to active politics, Mr. Hamilton cited 2 incidents in the 1960s that prompted his desire to get involved in representational politics.
I was intrigued by what had happened in 1967 when Anguilla launched what I will say is a coup attempt on St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla. I was young, of course, but I tried to understand why such a coup was apparently attempted, and yet despite the claim that there was knowledge of the coup, no one actually got shot. What really got me interested was in 1968, I think it was, when we did not yet have what you call National Carnival, and the Bastia High School was the venue where all Christmas festivities were centered around that particular school. And as usual, the school headmaster had already granted permission for the festivities to take place there. And the government of the day decided that he must withdraw it. They wanted him to withdraw it because involved in Christmas festivities were a number of persons who apparently they thought were close to the People's Action Movement.
Based on polling data and assessment of the numbers from the last election, Constituency 8 will be a tough seat.
Hamilton has been disappointed. Hamilton, really, I like Hamilton. I think Hamilton was an able guy, but he has allowed himself to be undermined, humiliated, demoralized. I mean, Hamilton has not done anything, you know. I mean, he got 25th and then elected member. I mean, overshadowing him in his ministry at a time like now with the thing. I mean, Hamilton just not seen him out there, missing in action. I'm disappointed, because I used to like Hamilton the most. Hamilton was my favorite I used to like, and I like his philosophy and so on. I think I used to like his views on social security and land and so on. He got kind of more Labour Party kind of philosophy and so on, rather than the PAM thing. But Hamilton has disappointed badly, man.
One of the complaints generally is that Hamilton has done nothing for the constituency.
Well, you know, sometimes you wonder, what do they mean by that? They didn't say anything I've done. If you're talking about at the constituency level, there's so much that has been done. If you're talking about at the national level, again, there's so much that has been done. 2019, for example, on the agriculture, we increased our productivity in agriculture in 2019 over 2018 by over 400 metric tons. I don't know how you could look at that and say nothing has been done, especially...
Why did you say that?
Why? Because there are those who like to talk. They talk. It's not based on fact, it's based on fiction.
As Health Minister, he cites the National Health Insurance as one of the biggest areas he wants to accomplish if re-elected.
It is, and I will put it this way, it is not that we have not accomplished it. Yes, it has not commenced, but a lot of groundwork had gone into preparing for universal health. You're aware, or you should be aware, or the person should be aware, that we did not just introduce something which could be described as a Hamilton thing. We went about bringing professionals and experts into the preparation and planning. The University of the West Indies, we engaged them. The Health Economics Research Center team here for almost a year worked on the ground to gather information and to prepare all of the documents to be able to present to Cabinet.
Dr. Terrance Drew is seen as a rising star in the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party. Hailing from St. Peter's, the heart of St. Christopher No. 8, the seat he is contesting for a second time, Dr. Drew said he was motivated to get into politics to serve the people of his community.
I like community work and I like to serve. Being a medical doctor, I think it's all about service and serving humanity. And so for me, having grown up in St. Peter's, I was the president of the football club, the basketball, executive member of the Eagle Boys Club, which was a club to deal with young men and so forth. That really brought me into service, and to me it is a natural extension. It's just on a different level. So what motivates me? Service to people.
Dr. Drew has lofty plans for St. Christopher 8.
The needs are: one, job. I need to address the issue of healthcare, the issue of housing, and the issue of opportunities for young people. And those things, I think, are the most important things at this time. Why do I say that? For example, a lot of the young people who are in the constituency, even before COVID-19, could not find jobs. A lot of them were on the PEP. A lot of them were underemployed, and therefore jobs would be important for the people within the constituency. Now, with the issue of healthcare, it is a general issue affecting the people of this country. A lot of people don't have what I will call health insurance or health coverage. Many persons I see in the constituency who get sick. When they go to the hospital, they can't really pay for the services, diagnostic services, and if they have to go overseas for more advanced treatment, they have difficulties in doing so.
He is confident he'll win the seat this time around, despite his opponents being there for the last 2 terms.
I always say the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is the best for St. Kitts and Nevis. PAM came out of the plantocracy. It was the landowners and those who own the factories and the cane fields and the land who were in charge of St. Kitts and Nevis, who really was fighting down the masses from having all the rights that Labour brought to us. They first formed the Democratic Party, and from that they formed PAM. So PAM always has a history of that. That is why PAM is so weak as a party. If you look at it, they had to get somebody who was with Labour really to help them to get into government.
He has a very good chance of winning this time. I believe that's one of the seats Labour will pick up. Labour will pick up, in my view, number 1 and number 8. Those are the 2 they're more likely to pick up. Drew is proven to be a really good, exciting candidate and probably a potential for leadership leading the Labour Party.
Scan this. Boy, what that stand for?
We are St. Kitts and Nevis Waste Disposals.
Oh, so it's I just rent the big bin for when people clean in the yard and construction project and so?
Yes, we do that.
Okay, so what about septic tank and grease trap cleanings?
Yes, we do that.
Them portable toilet rental?
Yes, we do that.
So what about if I want to rent a sexy bar trailer for like VIP events or my outdoors wedding?
Yes, we do that.
Residential garbage pickup?
Yes, we do that.
Okay. So if my office have a bunch of documents we need shredded?
Yes, we do that.
Boy, I talking to you and but when you answer me, I hearing like 10 people.
That's just the strength of our team working for you. Watch now. Call us at 662-3329 and we'll come and do that for you.
Like us on Facebook.
Dr. Drew, well, let me just say this about Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew is a dynamic person. He is, one could say, the quintessential next-gener, in the sense that he is the kind of person that one would think the Labour Party is looking towards. Dr. Drew has, he sparkles on the platform, and he excites a number of people. And I think for a number of people last time around, it was a surprise that he lost in that election. I don't think that the loss was that significant. It was a relatively narrow loss. Eugene Hamilton has 53%, which means that the loss was not as significant as some others. So he would have been able to achieve 47%, which means he relatively narrowly lost 236 votes and a 3% swing needed to make it up. All things being considered, Terrance Drew should be able to do this. The other factor that you have, of course, is that Eugene Hamilton, as you said, is an older politician. He doesn't have the youthful enthusiasm of Terrance Drew, and one would assume that those were the kind of things that can help. Yes, this seat is one that is of great interest to me. It is a marginal seat. It is a marginal seat with two candidates, one older and one younger, and the excitement that is created by Dr. Drew says to me that this will be one of the battlegrounds in the campaign. The question is, can it be won? Certainly it can be. It goes against the grain of the swing that I was seeing in the last Cadres poll. However, it is a 3% swing that is needed, and to say that because we saw a 2 in favor of team unity and a 3 away from team unity would make a difference, that's all within the margin of error. So there are possibilities there for Labour and Dr. Drew. Having said that, you know, Eugene Hamilton has been a person who has held on to the seat. He's been a campaigner for a long time, and this is the first occasion that he is facing it, having been a member of parliament and essentially defending it with being in government and being a minister and whatnot. And I'm assuming that, you know, he would have learned over the years to use that in his favor. So it's going to be an interesting battle, and one certainly that I can't call, but one that I'm watching with great interest. Well, no, I mean, he goes in hobbled, and I think the people always say, you know, we're looking at his performance as a minister. That's a factor too. But I always say, let's start with the last election campaign. Eugene Hamilton won that seat with 53% of the total popular vote, with a margin of 236, as you quite rightly said, in a constituency of 4,000 people. His back is against the wall to start with. So one could argue that he's not sailing in the way that Timothy Harris or Denzel Douglas has been sailing. He's really struggling. And in a situation where the margins are slim, it doesn't surprise me that he struggles. So he goes in with a struggle in terms of holding on and maintaining relevance and so on. And as I said, he's not a young person, and certainly his opponent is quite young. So then you look at the current factors, and the current factors would relate to the fact that, you know, people will always want things that they can't be given. And there may be some concerns there that people haven't gotten all that they needed or that they felt they should get, and they weren't seeing the level of energy that they should have seen. So, you know, those are the kind of factors that I would say come to play in relation to that constituency. But I wouldn't say that his back is against the wall, certainly only because of contemporary factors. I think it's against the wall because he went in pretty hobbled in the first place, because he only came in with a 53% margin over the other candidate. And I think that is a factor that creates some concerns, some challenges.
And that will do it for today's edition of St. Kitts Nevis Votes 2020. Remember to continue watching SK News 9, your source for all things election. We have another show for you tomorrow. Be sure to stay tuned. Have a pleasant day.